Did you know that 73% of new truck drivers quit within their first year? Not because they can't handle the driving, but because they never learned how to turn their worst moments into their greatest opportunities? Meanwhile, there's a farm boy from Nebraska who turned a childhood of sleeping under snow-covered quilts and dropping out of school in 9th grade into a $328 billion trucking empire. That man is C.L. Werner, founder of Werner Enterprises, and his secret wasn't avoiding obstacles. It was using what the ancient Stoics called the discipline of turning impediments into fuel. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." And Werner proved this principle works whether you're facing your first truck breakdown on a lonely highway or building one of America's largest transportation companies. At 19, Werner made a decision that would have terrified most people. He traded his family's 1953 Mercury as a down payment on a Ford truck, choosing uncertainty over security, freedom over a factory whistle. When that first truck inevitably broke down on some forgotten stretch of highway, Werner didn't see failure, he saw education. Every breakdown taught him something about engines. Every difficult customer taught him something about service. Every financial struggle taught him something about business. This isn't just Werner's story. It's the blueprint for how every professional driver, from rookie to veteran, can transform their worst days into stepping stones towards success. Whether you're staring at your first blown engine, dealing with your first angry dispatcher, or facing your first major equipment failure, the way you interpret that moment will determine whether it destroys your confidence or builds your character. In the next 20 minutes, you'll discover the exact mental framework that C.L. Werner used to transform every obstacle into an opportunity, whether you're in your first month behind the wheel or your 20th year in the industry. We'll explore the 3 levels of obstacle transformation that separate drivers who thrive from those who barely survive, showing you how to apply these principles whether you're dealing with a breakdown in Montana or building a trucking business empire. You'll learn the immediate response protocol that Werner developed during his early trucking days, a step-by-step system for handling any crisis that keeps you mentally strong while solving the practical problem at hand. This same system scales beautifully. The rookie uses it for equipment failures, the experienced driver uses it for complex logistical challenges, and the owner-operator uses it for business crises. We'll dive deep into the growth mindset shift that Werner mastered, showing you how to extract valuable lessons from every difficult situation, whether it's your first DOT inspection or your 100th customer complaint. You'll discover the resilience-building technique that Werner used to stay motivated during his toughest early years, when success seemed impossible and quitting looked reasonable. Most importantly, you'll understand how these principles compound over time. The mental toughness you build handling your first breakdown becomes the foundation for handling million-dollar business decisions later in your career. By the end of this episode, you'll have a complete system for transforming obstacles into opportunities, plus specific daily practices that build the kind of unshakable confidence that separates great drivers from those who just survive in this demanding industry. This isn't about positive thinking or motivational fluff. It's about developing the practical philosophy that will serve you throughout your entire trucking journey. Meet Carlos Rodriguez, a 26-year-old former warehouse worker who just completed his CDL training and landed his first driving job with a mid-sized carrier based out of Phoenix. 3 weeks into his new career, Carlos is hauling a load of electronics from Los Angeles to Denver, feeling pretty confident about his progress and thinking he's got this trucking thing figured out. It's Tuesday afternoon, mile marker 247 on Interstate 40 near Flagstaff, when Carlos hears that sound every new driver dreads. A loud bang followed by the unmistakable hiss of escaping air from his trailer brakes. The truck lurches as the trailer brakes lock up, forcing Carlos to guide his rig to the shoulder while his heart pounds and his mind races. As he climbs out to inspect the damage, Carlos sees exactly what he feared. A blown air line to the trailer, brake chambers locked solid, and him sitting on a busy interstate with no idea how to fix it. His first instinct is panic. He's blocking the shoulder. Traffic is flying past at 80 miles per hour. His company expects this load delivered by morning, and he has no clue what to do. Carlos pulls out his phone with shaking hands, dreading the call he has to make to his dispatcher, imagining the disappointment, the frustration, maybe even getting fired for incompetence. This is the moment that separates future success stories from career failures, though Carlos doesn't know it yet. His mind is telling him he's failed, that he's not cut out for trucking, that maybe he should have stayed in the warehouse where at least he knew what he was doing. But what Carlos doesn't realize is that he's standing at the exact same crossroads where C.L. Werner once stood, facing his first major trucking crisis with nothing but determination and a willingness to learn. The next few hours will either crush Carlos's confidence or forge it into something unbreakable. According to the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, mechanical failures account for 23% of all commercial vehicle incidents. But here's the more revealing statistic. 78% of new drivers report that their first major breakdown creates lasting anxiety about equipment reliability, while only 34% of drivers with more than 5 years of experience report the same concern. This means that how you handle your first breakdown literally rewires your brain's response to future challenges. Industry research from the American Transportation Research Institute shows that drivers who successfully navigate their first-year report having developed what psychologists call adversarial growth, the ability to become stronger through difficult experiences rather than being weakened by them. But here's the problem. Most new drivers interpret their first breakdown as evidence of personal failure rather than as a normal part of professional development. They catastrophize the situation, imagining worst-case scenarios, and allow panic to override practical problem-solving. This emotional flooding actually impairs their ability to learn from the experience, creating a negative feedback loop where each subsequent challenge feels more threatening than it actually is. The drivers who thrive understand something different. Every breakdown is a classroom, every crisis is curriculum, and every obstacle is an opportunity to develop skills that will serve them throughout their career. Professional drivers know that mechanical literacy, emergency problem-solving, customer communication under pressure, and crisis management are all skills that can only be developed through direct experience with difficult situations. The rookie who learns to see breakdowns as education rather than disaster builds a foundation of competence and confidence that compounds throughout their career, while the rookie who personalizes every problem stays trapped in anxiety and self-doubt. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor who ruled Rome while fighting wars on multiple frontiers, understood exactly what Carlos was experiencing in that moment of crisis. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." And this principle became the foundation for how C.L. Werner approached every obstacle throughout his journey from farm boy to transportation mogul. When Werner was 19 and made that terrifying decision to trade his family's car for a truck, he wasn't just buying equipment, he was choosing to embrace uncertainty as his teacher. Werner's first breakdown happened on a lonely stretch of highway between Omaha and Denver in 1957, when his Ford truck's transmission started grinding and smoking, leaving him stranded with a load of farm equipment and no money for major repairs. Instead of seeing this as proof he'd made a terrible mistake, Werner applied what would become his signature approach to obstacles. First, control what you can control. Second, learn everything possible from what you cannot control. Third, use both lessons to become stronger. Werner spent that night under his broken truck with a flashlight and a basic toolkit, not just trying to fix the immediate problem, but studying how transmissions work, understanding why this failure happened, and developing preventive maintenance routines that would reduce future breakdowns. He didn't just get his truck running again, he became more competent, more confident, and more prepared for the next challenge. Every problem was a professor, Werner later reflected, and every breakdown was a bachelor's degree in practical education. This wasn't positive thinking or motivational mantras. This was systematic skill development disguised as crisis management. Werner understood that the trucking industry would present endless obstacles, but each one mastered became armor against future challenges and ammunition for future success. Here's how to implement Werner's Obstacle-to-Opportunity Framework, whether you're dealing with your first breakdown or your 100th business challenge. Phase 1 is immediate stabilization. Werner's rule was secure, assess, act, in exactly that order. Secure means getting yourself and your equipment to safety, whether that's pulling off the road completely, setting out triangles, putting on your hazard lights, and making sure you're visible to other drivers. This isn't just about physical safety, it's about mental safety too, creating a calm space where you can think clearly instead of reacting emotionally. Assess means conducting a systematic evaluation of what's actually wrong versus what you fear might be wrong, gathering facts rather than spinning worst-case scenarios. Act means taking the next logical step based on your assessment, whether that's attempting a repair, calling for help, or notifying customers about delays. Phase 2 is learning extraction. This is where Werner separated himself from average drivers. While others just wanted the problem fixed, Werner treated every breakdown as a masterclass in mechanical systems, asking questions like, what caused this failure? What early warning signs did I miss? How can I prevent this in the future? What tools or knowledge would have helped me handle this better? He kept a small notebook in his truck specifically for recording breakdown lessons, creating his own personal database of mechanical wisdom that grew with every crisis. Phase 3 is competence building. Werner never wasted a crisis by just returning to normal once it was resolved. Instead, he used each obstacle to build specific skills, whether that was learning basic electrical troubleshooting, understanding hydraulic systems, or developing better pre-trip inspection routines. This systematic approach to adversarial growth is what transformed Werner from a nervous rookie into one of the most successful trucking entrepreneurs in American history. Werner's approach to obstacles evolved and deepened as his career progressed, but the core principles remained constant throughout his journey from single truck owner to Fortune 500 CEO. During his early years as an owner-operator in the 1960s, Werner faced a crisis that would have destroyed most small trucking operations. 3 of his 4 trucks broke down in the same week, leaving him unable to meet customer commitments and facing potential bankruptcy. Instead of panicking or cutting corners, Werner applied his systematic approach at a business level. He secured his operation by honest communication with customers about delays, assessed his maintenance procedures to identify systemic problems, and acted by implementing preventive maintenance schedules that reduced his breakdown rate by 60% over the following year. But Werner understood something deeper about obstacles. They don't just test your technical skills, they reveal your character and either strengthen or weaken your decision-making capability. When Werner was building his company in the 1970s and faced his first major lawsuit from a customer claiming delayed delivery, he could have seen this as a threat to his reputation and business. Instead, Werner used this obstacle to develop comprehensive customer communication systems, detailed delivery tracking, and proactive problem-solving protocols that became competitive advantages. Problems are just opportunities wearing work clothes, Werner often told his drivers, and he proved this philosophy by using every major challenge to build capabilities that separated his company from competitors. During the fuel crisis of 1979, when diesel prices spiked and many trucking companies failed, Werner didn't just survive. He used the crisis to develop fuel efficiency programs, alternative routing systems, and cost management disciplines that made his company stronger when fuel prices stabilized. Werner's systematic approach to turning obstacles into opportunities became the cultural foundation of Werner Enterprises, where drivers are trained not just to handle problems, but to extract maximum learning and growth from every challenging situation they encounter. The advanced application of Werner's obstacle transformation philosophy extends throughout every stage of a trucking career, creating compound benefits that separate great drivers from those who just survive in the industry. Werner understood that obstacles operate on multiple levels simultaneously. There's the immediate practical problem that needs solving, the skill development opportunity that builds competence, the character strengthening that builds resilience, and the wisdom extraction that builds judgment. Professional drivers who master this multi-level approach find that their worst days become their most valuable education, their biggest challenges become their greatest competitive advantages, and their most difficult customers become their most loyal advocates. When Werner faced the challenge of deregulation in the 1980s, which threatened to destroy many established trucking companies, he didn't resist the change or complain about unfair competition. Instead, he used deregulation as an opportunity to expand his geographical reach, develop new service offerings, and recruit the best drivers from failing companies. This systematic approach to turning industry disruption into business opportunity allowed Werner Enterprises to grow exponentially, while competitors struggled or folded. Werner's philosophy created what business experts call antifragile capabilities, systems that don't just survive stress, but actually get stronger when challenged. For working drivers, this means developing not just the mechanical skills to handle breakdowns, but the mental frameworks to extract learning from every difficult situation, the emotional regulation to stay calm under pressure, and the problem-solving capabilities to turn setbacks into comebacks. Werner proved that obstacles are not interruptions to success. They are the raw material from which success is built, provided you have the philosophy and discipline to transform them properly. 6 months later, Carlos Rodriguez has become a completely different driver. Not because he stopped encountering obstacles, but because he learned to mine gold from every difficult situation using Werner's systematic approach. That first breakdown near Flagstaff, which initially felt like professional disaster, became Carlos's foundation course in practical problem-solving, customer communication, and mechanical troubleshooting. Today, Carlos is known among his colleagues as the driver who stays calm during crises, the guy who actually enjoys complex logistics challenges, and the professional who turns angry customers into loyal advocates through skilled communication and reliable service. Carlos's transformation mirrors Werner's journey from anxious farm boy to confident business leader. Both understood that obstacles are not evidence of inadequacy, but opportunities for education, growth, and character development. Here are your specific action steps for implementing Werner's Obstacle-to-Opportunity Framework, whether you're facing your first breakdown or building your own trucking empire. First, develop what Werner called crisis calm, the ability to pause and breathe before reacting to any unexpected challenge, creating mental space for systematic problem-solving rather than emotional reaction. Second, implement the learn and log practice. Keep a notebook or phone app where you record lessons from every difficult situation, building your personal database of practical wisdom that compounds over time. Third, practice grateful reframing. After resolving any obstacle, spend 5 minutes identifying at least 3 ways the experience made you more competent, confident, or capable. Fourth, create competence-building plans. Use each major challenge to identify specific skills you need to develop, then create deliberate practice routines to build those capabilities. Fifth, develop antifragile systems. Look for ways to use obstacles to build processes, relationships, and capabilities that make you stronger rather than just returning to your previous state. These practices scale naturally throughout your trucking career. The same principles that help you handle equipment failures as a rookie become the foundation for handling business challenges as an owner-operator. Next week, we'll explore how to use these same Stoic decision-making principles to evaluate and choose your first trucking company, because the obstacles you encounter early in your career often point toward the opportunities that define your future success. Here's your 7-day Obstacle Transformation Challenge, designed specifically for drivers at every stage of their career who want to build Werner's systematic approach to turning problems into opportunities. Each day for the next week, I want you to apply the 3-phase Werner method to at least one challenging situation, whether it's a mechanical problem, a difficult customer, a scheduling conflict, or a regulatory issue. Day 1 through 3, focus on mastering the Secure Assess Act protocol. Before reacting emotionally to any challenge, pause long enough to secure your safety and mental clarity, assess the actual facts rather than your fears about the situation, then act based on logic rather than emotion. Day 4 through 6, implement the learn and log practice. After resolving any problem, spend 5 minutes writing down exactly what the situation taught you about equipment, customers, regulations, or yourself, building your personal wisdom database one challenge at a time. Day 7, practice grateful reframing. Look back over the week's obstacles and identify specific ways each challenge made you more capable than you were before it happened. But here's the deeper challenge that separates this from simple problem solving. Approach each obstacle with Werner's fundamental question, how can this situation make me stronger, rather than just getting me back to where I was? This perspective shift, from seeing obstacles as threats to viewing them as opportunities for development, is what transformed a 9th grade dropout from Nebraska into one of America's most successful transportation entrepreneurs. Werner proved that your background doesn't determine your destination. Your obstacles don't define your outcome, and your current challenges are actually the raw materials for your future success. If this episode helped you understand that breakdowns are classrooms and obstacles are opportunities, subscribe to this channel because we're building a community of drivers who understand that professional success comes not from avoiding challenges, but from systematically transforming them into stepping stones. Share your obstacle transformation stories in the comments. What challenge taught you the most about trucking, about yourself, or about turning problems into opportunities? Your experience might be exactly what another driver needs to hear to get through their own difficult situation. Remember, every great driver, from Werner to the veteran in the truck next to you, built their expertise not by avoiding obstacles, but by learning to transform them. The highway will test you, but it will also teach you, provided you have the philosophy and discipline to extract wisdom from every challenge you encounter. Thanks for staying with us, and see you in the next episode.